Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's Whip and Chat. Before I jump in, if you do a couple things for me, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Also, check out the links down below for my Facebook group and my Facebook page. Love to see you either of those places. And also follow me over on Instagram at Diamond Painting Anonymous. This is my WIP today. WIP, W-I-P, for those of you who are new, stands for work in progress. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are currently working on and work along as I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this like a podcast. I think I have everything set up and ready to go. Drills, canvas. This is my Craftably for my Big 10, my koala that I'm working on. I've got my notes, my timer, got some hot tea. I've got my new cat-proof tray that I'm currently loving. And it's pink, so it goes with this. I've got some pens, and I think I'm ready to go. So I'm going to rearrange things, zoom you guys in so you can see where I'm working, and get my notes and everything ready to go, and I will be right back, so don't go anywhere. Okay, let me pick a color here to start with. Let's see. I think I'll do my A. Where is that? Oh, it's right here. Okay. I don't know if I'm finishing this color, but I think I worked on this one last time. But anyway, that's where I'll start with. So I'm actually really loving this tray. This is one of the trays I got on my Etsy shop haul. I love how the drills line up in it. So nice. I do wish that my spout was on the other side though, because it just, yeah, it's a little awkward for me because I'm right-handed to pour. But I guess if you're left-handed, then it's all good, right? Okay, so let's see. Wow, I didn't have any trash drills last time I looked on this, or did I just throw them away? Don't know. Anyway, alrighty. So let's see. I want to start out with my life update. So let me jump into that. It's been kind of a crazy week, you guys. So, oop, move that one over a little bit too far. Okay. My knees are still doing well. I'm slowly getting back to normal. My son and I are still going for our walks. So, you know, that old adage, use it or lose it. Been trying to make sure that I'm using it. We did skip a couple of days this week just because I wasn't feeling great a couple of days, but we're keeping up with it, so it's good. My elbow, however, is an issue, and I think most of that is because I'm trying to rush through my drills and chills kit. I really want to have that one done by October 31st, not just so that because that's the end of the event, but also because I'm going to be starting DP for vets in November, and I want to have everything kind of done and off my plate so that I can concentrate on that, because I will be busy doing things with that. You know, I will be doing weekly giveaways, and so I'll need to be going to the post office and getting things together and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a lot of kind of behind the scenes things that I need to do for that. So I don't want to have to be worrying about another canvas. I mean, if I don't get it done, it's not the end of the world, but I'm trying. And because I'm trying, I spend quite a bit of time diamond painting. I don't do it every day, which is part of my problem as well. We were busy yesterday doing a bunch of stuff, and so I didn't diamond paint at all yesterday, which doesn't help my case. But then when I do diamond paint, I diamond paint a lot to make up for it, which ends up with my elbow hurting. So I guess I just need to figure that part of it out. But anyway, I'll work through it. So this has been a weird week. Hubby is back from working in Florida, so they took the week off, which is great, but just makes it a weird week. Like, we spent all week not knowing what day it is because our routine is so out of whack with him home every day. Not that it's not nice to have him at home, it just is unusual, and so it makes things feel weird, if that makes sense. So, and I didn't make him spend all of his time off doing a bunch of honeydew projects. We did do a couple of things, but nothing really major. So he still has plenty of stuff on his list if and when he gets around to it. Let's see. Oh, Thursday was fun. So Thursday, I woke up to an email from Google saying that my AdSense account had been deactivated. So for those of you who don't know, that's how YouTubers get paid through Google, is through your AdSense account. So along with me, pretty much every other creator on YouTube panicked because that's how you get paid. And apparently it was some issue with Google internally deciding to move people from their regular AdSense accounts over to a special YouTube AdSense. Why that wasn't a thing before, I don't know. Why they couldn't do that without sending everyone an email that created a panic, I don't know. But after some internet searching, I discovered what the issue was, because when I logged into my AdSense account, it still showed as active. And I'm like, well, why am I getting this thing saying it's canceled if it's still showing as active? And yeah, it was just a big old mess. And again, I don't know why Google couldn't just send an email to all of us to say, hey, if you get this email in the next few days, or why they couldn't have set up the system to not send the email in the first place, because it was all internal. There wasn't anything anybody needed to do. But because they didn't tell anyone to expect this email and to just ignore it, of course, it just created this huge panic. So, and yeah, just kind of crazy. I mean, I'll admit I don't know a whole lot about technology, but I don't understand why they couldn't just make it not send that email. Or if for whatever reason they couldn't make it not send the email, to send an email to everyone to say, hey, heads up, this is what we're going to be doing. If you get this notice, it's all cool, nothing to worry about. Gotta love technology. Let's see, what else is going on? We're still waiting to hear about our Canadian PR. We submitted all of our stuff for the medical exams and everything, but we haven't heard anything since. Now, the place where we had to send it is in Nova Scotia, and I don't know how well you guys follow Canadian news, but Nova Scotia and Newfoundland and Labrador were hit pretty hard by Hurricane Fiona. And while the city that processes the PR was not hit directly, at least as far as I'm aware, I'm wondering if just that's been enough of a disruption because of what's going on up there, that maybe things just aren't getting done as quickly as they normally would. And also they just had Canadian Thanksgiving, which is a holiday up there, so I don't know if that's it, but I'm getting kind of anxious to see, just to hear something. I guess that's kind of a catch-22. Like, I'm anxious for them to tell us yes and be done with the process. But then I'm also, once we get to that point, then there's a whole lot of things we have to suddenly start doing. So then I'm like, well, it'd be okay if they waited a little bit. I'm not the most patient person, so trying to find that happy medium has been a struggle for me. So anyway, oh yeah, Prime Day. You guys, I was so looking forward to this extra Prime Day because I thought we would get some really good sales. Like, I wanted some things that I want. There were definitely some things that I wanted, and I had put them in my cart, and I thought, I'll just wait until this Prime Day happens and see if any of them end up being things that were on sale. Well, of course, none of them did. So I had decided that we were going to kind of do some updates for some home goods type things that we really haven't purchased a whole lot of in a while, and probably could do with some new ones like curtains and towels, some new bed sheets, that kind of stuff. So I was hoping some of that would be on sale, but unfortunately, I mean, I'm sure there probably was some of it that was on sale, but none of it was the stuff that I had picked out. So didn't end up getting any real deals there. we were going to get an emergency solar generator, like one of those Jackery type things, just because I wanted to have some alternatives for, charging some things in an emergency, possibly running some small things this winter, because a couple winters ago we had a really bitterly cold winter, and gas prices, because we use natural gas to heat our house, gas prices went through the roof, and we ended up with this big bill, and I'm trying to avoid that. Which, maybe it will be okay. My husband and I were talking. Here we are. It's the middle of October, basically. And we have yet to turn on our heater, which is kind of unheard of for us because I usually get cold pretty quickly. So usually end of September, we've turned on our heater. Or at least we're flipping back and forth between it and the air conditioner. It'll be too cold at night, but then it's too hot during the day. We haven't really turned it on at all, other than to just double check it and make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to. But we haven't really run the heater at all, which is kind of crazy. So anyway, we ended up talking ourselves out of getting the Jackery. Just decided that it really wasn't going to be enough power to do what we needed it to do. And, a lot of money that we didn't want to invest currently. So, yeah. So we ended up doing some other options, but we'll see. Like I said, I'm just trying to make sure that we use less gas this winter. We have been looking at houses in Canada, and that's another reason I wish that we would, hurry up and hear something, because there's been a couple that we would have jumped on if we'd been a little closer to the end of the process, because I think they would have been nice houses for us. But I'm hesitant to just buy something and then let it sit empty until we get everything finished and we can go up there. So that's kind of been a bummer. We did spend the weekend. Let me pick a different color here so I can be working while I'm talking. Where's number 6? Because I'm going to bet. Oh, I thought it was going to be one that had a lot. I had two bottles of, but no. Fill in this whole section while I'm talking. We did spend part of the weekend working on some projects. I wanted to redo some of my craft room storage because it was making me crazy. I have, pretty much since I moved my craft room into this room, I have had an old bookcase in the closet, and that's what I've kind of been using for storage. And while it's been okay, it was an old bookcase. It wasn't in the greatest shape when we put it in there, and it was ugly. It's just one of those old put together bookcases. And, not knocking put together furniture, because that's actually what we replaced the bookcase with, but it was old. It was dark brown. Some of the shelves were missing. It was kind of coming apart. And I said, you know what? I just want to get something that looks a little bit cleaner, neater, etc. So I actually spent some time looking on Amazon trying to find something, that was kind of like IKEA type storage that would work, but everything was so expensive and didn't really fit. I needed it to fit in the closet, so it had to be skinny, and everything, even closet stuff made for closets, was kind of too wide. So we didn't find anything on Amazon, and we ended up going into town and going to the local big box builder store and finding some of that cube storage that I could stack. So it was skinny enough to fit where we needed it to, and by stacking 2 of them, we could get it to be the exact height that we needed it to be, and it would give me, we hoped, enough storage. So I bought some cute little gray and white boxes, cubes to fit in the cube storage. Some have designs, some don't, but got, I think, 5 or 6 of those. And then cleaned out the closet, which took me several hours because I had so much stuff. You know how you don't realize until you go to move things how much stuff you've got squirreled away? it was like that because I just kept pulling stuff out. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. And of course, a lot of my diamond painting stuff is in the closet. And so pulling all of that stuff out and trying to figure out where everything needed to live was a lot of work. But we got it all done and I'm really happy with it. It looks so much neater. It looks so much cleaner. And we also got a little storage shelf to add some storage to where I have like a little, I don't know, some kind of a table. It's got shelves underneath it, but it's the table where my printer and my cutting machine sit. And I really needed some extra storage there. We were trying to get stuff off the floor. And so I bought a shelf. What we bought the shelf for was my husband splurged for me and got me a thermal label printer, which I had been looking at but had decided that I wasn't going to get because until I open like my own Etsy shop or a Shopify shop or something, it didn't really seem like something I needed. I can print out the labels just fine with my regular printer and the online discount place that I'm using for postage. So it wasn't a necessity. It just was going to be nice. So he splurged and got it for me, and he got me a fancy holder for all the labels, and then he got me some of the little round circle labels so I could print like little thank you labels just to make things a little bit easier and I don't have to spend quite so much time doing things and fussing with the cutting machine for some of the stuff that I was doing. But then I needed to make room for it on the desk or on the where the printer sits. Well, I was originally going to put it where the printer sets, but it has to be hooked up to the computer. The cord wasn't long enough. We couldn't make it work the way that we thought. We just didn't measure well enough, and we didn't forgot to take the measurements with us to the store because of course we did. And so it just ended up not working out the way that we thought. So had to kind of figure out, okay, how's this going to work? I ended up making room for the label printer on my desk, which works. It looks great. So now I have it there. And we did manage to use the extra shelving on the printer table, even though it's not the way we intended, but it still works. And I gained some much needed storage space, let me get some stuff off the floor, gave me some extra shelves to kind of put paper and some of the stuff that goes with the cutting machine right there with the cutting machine. So I'm not having to kind of go through boxes and drag things out when I need it. So I'm pretty happy with it. It's not as fancy and as nice looking as if I just could go to IKEA and buy a whole bunch of things. That's my dream. My dream storage is to be able to do that someday. We don't have an IKEA close to where we live. We'd have to drive like 3 to 4 hours to the nearest IKEA store, and I just didn't want to do that. Plus, I don't know how well, even if we bought a bunch of IKEA stuff, how well it would travel with us. You know, when it's put together furniture and then you're basically going to put it on a moving truck to move it cross country. That's one of the reasons, you know, my husband and I looked at a dream box, but one, I can't justify that much money. Two, that was my thing. I read a couple of reviews and people said, you know, yeah, trying to move it was kind of a nightmare. So I just thought, you know, what I'd really rather do is just buy some put together IKEA furniture once we move and we're kind of where we know we're going to be staying and I can put it together. I really want some pegboard to hang things on. I want all the fancy, clean, white, you know, craft room shelving, but it doesn't have to be the dream box. I told my husband, whatever room I end up in for my crafting, whether it's a room in the house, you know, a little she shed or a space out in, we're planning a garage for him. He loves to work on cars and do that kind of stuff. Um, I want a room and I want 3 of the walls to be basically covered with shelves. I can have a table in the middle of the room. I think that would be better for lighting and recording and things anyway. So yeah, that's what I want. Pegboard, a bunch of shelves, all the little storage containers. That's going to be my dream. Of course, I don't know how long that will be before we get there, get to Canada and get all of that done, but in my dream world, that's what I want. Why this is suddenly dropping all of these all of a sudden. All right, let me grab my bigger multi-placer here so I can start working on this section. And yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I just want my craft space how I want it, you know? It's fine with what we've got now and I'm making do, but it's just not my dream craft space. And once we get to Canada, I want to get situated wherever we're going to get situated and then start getting that kind of stuff. Because my kids are old enough now. My oldest has moved out. My youngest is going to be done with college in a year or so. And don't know if he'll move out, but even if he doesn't move out right away, I still want to start, you know, putting together the things that I want to do. That's not what happens when you get to the point where you're starting to have an empty nest. You can do the things that you want to do that you've put off because you had kids and you were doing things for them first. Okay, let's see. I think I'm ready to move to my diamond painting updates. So what's going on in my diamond painting world? I am still working on trying to update my logbook. I've got kind of the plain Jane version of the updated logbook finished, but I really wanted something a little more fancy. The problem I'm running into is, you know, fonts are copyrighted as well, and trying to figure out what fonts I can use, what fonts I can't, and find one that I like. I still haven't found one that I liked. Found some that are free for commercial use since I want to sell the updated logbook, but not one that I'm just in love with yet. And I still want to make it a little bit prettier. You know, it's that fine line between I want it to look pretty, but I also don't want to waste a bunch of ink just printing colors and things all over the place, you know? So I'm trying to decide whether I want it to just kind of remain a black and white, but with the, you know, more embellishments and more fancy font, or if I want to add some color into it. For me personally, it doesn't really need any color. I mean, I would be happy with the plain Jane version, but I do want it to be a little bit fancier. So I'm still kind of playing around with what I need to do there. And then, you know, I know not everybody wants a paper version. I happen to like the analog versions. I like having the paper to flip through and all of that. But I was watching another YouTuber who was basically talking about a way to use like OneNote or you know, programs like that you could basically kind of keep your own digital version of a logbook. And basically, you know, using something like that, you can just do screenshots and, you know, keep whatever notes you yourself personally want. Um, because, for instance, I know there's things that I'm putting in the logbook that I don't personally use. Like I rarely, if ever, write down the actual total number of drills in a canvas that I'm doing. Even though I have that spot there, I rarely fill it out. I know people that use the Gems Flow app. I tried using it, but again, I just prefer the pencil and paper method. To me, it's just easier. I feel like I spend way too much time going through the app and putting things in the app, and then yeah, just not for me. I mean, if it is, you know, great, then it's out there for you to use, but it's just not my favorite thing. And so there's a million different ways that you can keep them. I mean, I've seen people who basically just took a blank sketchbook and, you know, wrote down whatever they wanted to with no real structure or anything. And if that works for you and you're happy with it, then great, go for it. Um, I just like mine to be a little bit more structured. I like my disc system because that lets me, I can move pages around. I can take pages out if I need to. I've had it happen before where I miswrite something, or I had a mishap not too long ago where I got one of the pages stuck to a canvas. So I had to throw away that page and redo it. And it was easy because of my disc system to take it out and redo it. You know, if I had a spiral run, yeah, you can rip the page out, but you can't really put it back in where it goes. You then have to put it, you know, at the end. And I like having mine in the order that I complete them. So again, you know, just personal preferences. So I'm trying to make it so that it appeals to as many people as possible, and that, you know, it's modular as I can make it so that people can kind of customize it to what they want. But yeah, so I'm still working on it. I do want to get it done though, so that I can get it done and printed out for me so that I can have it ready to go, because I am already working on my goals for 2023 and everything. I'm still working on my drills and chills canvas. I told you guys that. I'm about halfway done, maybe a little less than halfway done. So I am going to spend the next few days really diligently trying to work on it and get it closer to being done. Don't know how successful I'm going to be, but that's my goal. Because like I said, I really want to have it done so that I don't have anything to worry about when DP for Vets starts. That starts on November 1st. I'm super excited about that. Can't wait to see how many people participate. Can't wait to see everybody's canvases and see what everybody's finishes look like. But it is a lot of more, like I said, behind the scenes work for me. I've done a little bit of prep already, but I'm sure there'll be stuff that I forget about as it gets closer. So just trying to get as much done as I can ahead of time so that maybe it won't be so labor intensive when it actually starts. And most of the kits that I have picked for this particular one are much smaller than usual. I think 40 by 50 is maybe the biggest one that I have. And I have some super small projects that I want to get done as well. So yeah, I'm hoping it'll be just a busy month for me and I can get that done. And then on to December and planning for 2023. I have some ideas for some things I want to do in December, so I'm working on those, but I do need to start getting ready for 2023, planning out my video content and what I'm going to do there, planning out, you know, what my goals are going to be, and kind of brainstorming what I want to do, both with the channel and social media, and where, you know, how I want to grow the channel and what I want to do. Some of that is dependent on, you know, kind of where things sit with our PR, but yeah, I think that's part of why I'm getting anxious. I've got some directions that I want to go as far as YouTube and my diamond painting goals, and I just feel like I can't really pull the trigger until I know when we're going to be moving. And some of the things can't happen until after we move. So yeah, I'm getting excited / frustrated for that to kind of get finished, but can't rush the government, right? And everything will happen on its own time, and until then I just have to be patient. I am close to some pretty big milestones on social media and also on YouTube. So I'm trying to figure out kind of, once I hit those milestones, what I want to do for a celebration. So I'll have to sit down and have a little brainstorm session on that. Or maybe I'll just ask in the Facebook group or on my Facebook page Like, what would you guys like to see as a celebration of me hitting milestones? Um, and where would you like to see it? Here on the YouTube channel, in the Facebook group, in both places, um, different things for different places. I'm open to suggestions. More brains equals better ideas, right? If you haven't seen my post from yesterday or my video from yesterday, go check it out. I did my small shop Etsy haul, which I was super excited to do. This tray is actually one of the things that I got during that haul. It was exciting for me just because, one, I hadn't really kind of gone on a shopping spree. I've been so focused on trying to stay within my budget this year that I really hadn't given myself the opportunity to kind of go out and just try some new stuff. So it was exciting in that way. Uh, Also, it let me accomplish my new to me company's goal because I went out and tried a whole bunch of stuff that was, from people who were new to me that I've not purchased from before. So that was exciting. And it was fun. It was like a little mini Christmas getting to open all of those canvases or those packages all at once. My husband and I were joking about having a little mini Christmas too because we ordered quite a bit of stuff from Amazon. We bought, like I said, new sheets, new towels. Some of that we bought in town, but we did order some on Amazon. I had a whole, cart full of things, just little things, nothing big. Like I bought a new t-shirt. I got, what else did I get? Oh, he wanted some like phone holders for the car because we've got, newer phones. Um, he got himself a new pair of glasses. He buys safety glasses all the time because he goes through them a lot on his job. Seems like every other day he's breaking a pair. So he ordered some of those for himself and, just small things like that. But everything seemed to come at once. So, and then we went out and bought, some of the put together furniture. So we had these big boxes from that. And we're just looking at this pile of boxes growing in our living room. We're like, ooh, it's like Christmas a little bit early. I do need to start thinking about that though. My youngest birthday is coming up. And while his birthday isn't super close to Christmas, I try really hard to make sure it doesn't get lost in the Christmas shuffle. Like I know people who have birthdays in December, especially if they're close to Christmas, which again, his isn't that close. Like he wasn't born on the 21st or something like that. But I know how easy it is for people to be like, oh, well, we'll just combine birthday and Christmas gifts. And we've always tried really hard to make sure that didn't happen for him because his birthday is actually really close to my mom's birthday, and that happened to my mom when she was growing up, and she absolutely hated it. In fact, she made a point of when she was alive, she would have a half birthday for my son just to make sure that he kind of got the birthday experience when it wasn't Christmas. So I try to make sure we do a separate celebration for that. Although it's really hard with him because he doesn't like to go out and do things. He doesn't want to go out to eat. He doesn't really have to, he's very much a homebody. So I don't know what we'll end up. And, we're lucky enough to be in a position that my kids don't really need anything. They have things they want, but they don't really need anything. And so sometimes buying gifts is a little challenging. Same with my husband. I mean, he'd be happy if I bought him a new TV every Christmas, but I refuse to do that. So, so I have to figure out something else. So anyway, okay, back to diamond painting stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah. So we had fun opening all the boxes, and now I can mark my 15 new to me companies as finished. So that's another goal I can check mark as done, which basically just leaves me for my goals for the year, leaves me with my DP hours goal, which I don't know if I will make or not. I'm hoping with some of these big projects, that I'm doing, like Miss Havisham and my Heaven and Earth design, that I'll be able to add some pretty significant hours and hit that goal, but I don't know. I think I set it too high, and I don't know if I'm going to make it. And then the other one is my Big 10, which, again, I'm hoping that I'll make it. I've got to finish this craftably, and I've got to finish my diamond dots, which I will be doing next month for DP for Vets. And then it's just down to my Heaven and Earth design, which is a square, which means it's going to take me longer and it's huge. So I don't know, but I'm going to try really hard to get through that and make that goal. So those are the two that I have left. I think for my Big 10, I probably would have been closer to completing my goal if I hadn't done some big projects for the Big 10. And then also, I did some really big projects this year. I did the Alice one, which I hadn't intended to do. My check was pretty big. I did the Muka, which was pretty big. I did the Firefly one, which was pretty big. And so I feel like I just took up some time maybe with those for the Big 10 that I could have spent working on the Heaven and Earth. But it's all good, right? It's all diamond painting hours. It all counts. Ooh, I was going to do number 9, and this is an AB. So let me do one of these really quick. Oh, there's a drill that's stuck in my tray here. Okay, let me pour some of these. Ooh, is this the really pretty one that I liked? It must be. Oh no, it's the peacock one. I haven't got to that one yet. I guess this is sort of it's a peacock green. The other one is more like a peacock turquoise. So let me get these all. I love how nicely they line up in this tray. I need to go back and look and see. I didn't really pay any attention to where the pour spout was. I wonder if they have some that are on the other side, so it's a little more natural for me as a righty. I mean, I can manage to pour them, but it's just a little more awkward than it would be if it was on the other side. It's always so hard to tell too. You look at these diamond painting trays and they all look pretty much the same, but until you get them and you try them out and see how they line up and what do they feel like in your hand. Because, there's some trays that people just absolutely swear by that I think are okay, but they're not wouldn't be my be all end all. Yes, I'm going to buy a bazillion of these and use these exclusively trays. Which is why it's good that we all have choices, right? Because not all of us like exactly the same thing. Oh, these are so pretty. I really like this. Okay, let's see. I was out looking for calendars to print out so that I could start working on, planning. What do I want? Why is that one not cooperating? Not participating. It's not participating. My brain some days. I was out looking for like free printable calendars for me to do some brainstorming. Like I'll write down on a calendar kind of, here's where I want to do this post, here's where I want to do this video, that kind of thing. And I wish there were some that were more, what's the word I'm looking for? Customizable. Because, like the ones that I could find that I thought would be good, like I only really use Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, but then they would have Twitter and TikTok and, whatever other bazillion social medias there are out there. And I was like, well, I really don't need all of these pages. I just need this and this and this. And I don't know. I guess I need to figure out how to use digital things better, but again, I'm that paper and pencil person. I'd rather plan it out on pencil and paper where I can, move it around and shuffle it, write it on Post-its so I can move it around easily. Which I get you can do, if I did it digitally, it would be easier to move things around and that kind of stuff, but I'm that way when I write things too. Anytime I'm writing something, I want to write it first with pencil and paper. And then, so my first draft is always pencil and paper, pen and paper. And then I will, write it on the computer. Even, I guess when I was in college and writing a lot of papers, I would write my papers first on the computer, but I would always, especially when I would go back and edit, would always print them out and then do my edits on the papers that I had printed out. I don't know, it just helps me read better that way, which seems weird because I read on my iPad all the time. I rarely actually pick up a physical book anymore, which is kind of crazy, but I have a ton of them. I should. I just don't. It's so much easier just to read everything on my iPad. Okay, well, I need to do some straightening here, obviously, but I feel like I made some good progress. So I think I'm going to call it good there, guys. So like I said, I do need to do some straightening, but I can do that off camera. You guys don't need to watch me do all of that. So let me zoom out here so you guys can kind of see. Got a good chunk of multi-placing done there, so I'm happy with that. So now I can start filling some stuff in and get to the fun stuff, right? Thanks for joining me today, guys, and thanks for hanging around till the end. If you liked today's video, before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. Give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon. Thanks so much for watching, guys.